the battle hung in the balance, I spoke an incantation from the Imanachreich, broke through their ranks with ease, and thus the holy lyre was mine. 'Twas light work for one such as I.
Cyrus told me all about it. You were amazing.
Having seen it for myself, I must admit, you were quite something, my lady. Why, I bet even Barbados himself would have been hard-pressed to catch up with you.
That was Hexencircle magic, not some incantation, but... whatever. Guess I'll let her have her moment.
Even though I didn't have a lot of lines, I still had fun. It kind of felt like being back in the Simulanka. Acting out a light-hearted script alongside a bunch of friends. It was nice to have a laid-back experience for once.
Quite a change of pace from our experience in Not Cry, huh?
Yeah, this was far less complicated.
You can say that again.
Wanna eat at our table? A whole bunch of friends are there.
All right, let the relaxing begin.
Noelle! I've been looking everywhere for you. Come on, join us. Just give me 1 second. I need to bring a few crates of drinks over first. But I'll be done soon, I promise. In that case, I'll help you out.
Wanna eat at our table? A whole bunch of friends are there.
All right, let the relaxing begin.
Even though I didn't have a lot of lines, I still had fun. It kind of felt like being back in the Simulanka. Acting out a light-hearted script alongside a bunch of friends. It was nice to have a laid-back experience for once.
Quite a change of pace from our experience in Not Cry, huh?
Yeah, this was far less complicated.
You can say that again.
As the battle hung in the balance, I spoke an incantation from the Imanachreich, broke through their ranks with ease, and thus the holy lyre was mine. 'Twas light work for one such as I.
Cyrus told me all about it. You were amazing.
Having seen it for myself, I must admit, you were quite something, my lady. Why, I bet even Barbados himself would have been hard-pressed to catch up with you.
That was Hexencircle magic, not some incantation, but... whatever. Guess I'll let her have her moment.
Even though I didn't have a lot of lines, I still had fun. It kind of felt like being back in the Simulanka. Acting out a light-hearted script alongside a bunch of friends. It was nice to have a laid-back experience for once.
Quite a change of pace from our experience in Not Cry, huh?
Yeah, this was far less complicated.
You can say that again.
Have a seat. I come bearing drinks. Booze free, of course. You're welcome. Well, that's what being home is all about, right? Letting go, feeling at ease. Figure we both deserve that after all this time. You think so? Glad to hear it. There's no place like home. That's what people say, right? The expedition took me far and wide, and still, little alcohol in my system, it would all come back. The cathedral, the statue, the windmills in the city, the pigeons and dandelions in front of the gate. The further away you get, the more you miss it. I might be biased, but it means a lot that you care about this place. I get that. The people are what make Mondstadt what it is, too. All the carefree kids running around, livening up the place. Which reminds me, I never thanked you for helping Mondstadt out back then. It takes a special person to do what you did. Most people are helpless in the face of abyssal corruption. Considering their target was Dvalin, things could have been bad. I suppose Barbados could have handled it, even though he hadn't been awake for long. But still, I doubt the ending would have turned out quite so perfect. Dvalin is family to him, you know? Having to choose between the dragon's life and Mondstadt's safety, that would have been cruel. Not to mention, the Wild Hunt would have reached our borders sooner or later. We'd have been stretched thin without your help. Maybe you've never put two and two together, but what you did in Natlan also helped reduce the threat of the Wild Hunt. If Natlan's crisis hadn't been resolved, the two abyssal powers might have joined forces at some point, making our situation even more dire. Ha! Look at us, taking down the Abyss in two separate nations. Doing the Knights of Favonius proud, aren't we? I guess not. In any case, for a knight, honor is something you get to define for yourself, no matter what the outside world thinks. And that's the question, isn't it? Why do we do what we do? But I think it's safe to say you already know the answer.
So this is where you've been hiding. You know, I don't think this was designed for sitting.
Ha! When did you become such a stickler? Come have a drink with us. There's plenty.
Don't mind if I do. Grape juice? Again?
You know, Charles would never let me hear the end of it if I started drinking without him.
Disappointing, but understandable. Oh, I almost forgot. Since this banquet is also for the actors, I invited Dvalin.
All right. Might hike up the bill a bit, but who cares? Haven't seen him in too long.
Yeah, well, he turned me down. He never did like being the center of attention. The city is a little too small for him to spread his wings. Even if no one is afraid of him, he could still take out a windmill or two. Guess it's better not to risk it.
Huh. Maybe it's time to draft a proposal to build him a landing pad.
The Traveler's right. If this is what makes him comfortable, might as well let him be. In the meantime, I propose a toast to our honorary knight.
To our honorary knight.
I often think about our parting at Windrise, you know. And now, almost in the blink of an eye, the final stop on your journey is just around the corner. Snezhnaya. The Tsaritsa's plans have continued to advance. Now, only the Pyro-Gnosis remains free from her grasp.
But if even the captain couldn't take Malwika's Gnosis by force, I guess we don't need to be concerned about its safety for now. So that's good news, at least.
You wouldn't be taking a dig at someone else's ability to hold on to their Gnosis, now would you, Grandmaster?
Haha, of course not. I'm not one to rub salt in old wounds.
Her harbingers do often tend to take a rather extreme approach. Just look at Child or Senora. But we would be mistaken to ignore the fact that Senora did not win the Geonosis using force.
Right. You told me about the contract Morak signed with her before his death. You're saying she didn't need to resort to violence in Mondstadt either?
That's right. If she was able to provide a reason convincing enough to persuade Morax, she could have persuaded me no problem. I suppose she just didn't think there was a reason to negotiate. I had just woken up, so I must not have seemed like much of a threat. Honestly, the Gnosis was of no use to me. I didn't care who it belonged to or what means were used to take it. I just knew if I fought her in that moment, the cathedral, perhaps even the entire city, might have become collateral damage.
True. I wouldn't put it past Senora to take civilians as hostages either.
In the end, though, it was those same methods that led to her end. After all, her third target, the Raiden Shogun, wasn't a big negotiator back then. Perhaps Senora's success in Mondstadt and Liyue convinced her that she was a match for the Archon of any nation. You did the right thing. It pained me to see Inazuma as it was back then. I'm glad things have changed since. Of course, now the elite force of Harbingers has quite a few missing from its ranks, so I suspect the Tsaritsa no longer has the means to meddle in other nations like she used to. Who knows? Perhaps a chance to formally meet her in Snezhnaya might come sooner than we think.
Some of our knights remain stationed in Notcry. If you need help, just say the word, and we'll be there.
The look in your eyes. It's changed a lot since you first set off from Mondstadt. But my advice remains unchanged. Never forget that the journey itself has meaning, traveler. The birds of Tevat, the songs in the cities, the Tsaritsa, her Fatui and the monsters, they are all part of that journey. Perhaps earth-shaking truths and indescribable trials await you at the end. Just remember, there is more to life than that. Alright, that's more than enough acting like a real Archon for one night. And still, not a sip of drink for dear old Venti at a time like this? You're no fun, Varka.
Dun dun dun!
Dun dun dun! Da da da!
This is so fun, Mom!
I think so too. Come on, let's blow them all up!
Mom, when can I play with the magic toy you made me?
Very soon, darling. In fact, it should be ready tomorrow. I just know you're going to love it.
Can we play together?
Why, of course! We'll have ourselves a splendid time.
So you're looking after the drink stand now. If I'd known sooner, I would have stopped by this morning. I've got to say, I'm getting curious. I've heard a lot about your mixology skills. I wonder what kinds of drinks you can mix with the ingredients Glenfiddia has prepared. I don't have much of a choice. It's just one thing after another right now. First off, the Knights of Favonia's annual combat assessment is coming up. And this year, the standards are higher than ever. As the captain of the reconnaissance company, I have to lead by example. At the very least, I need to rank as one of the top 3 captains in the practical portion. So, I've been intensifying my training lately. Being a descendant of sinners means I have to work hard to maintain my position. I'll have you know I've never once neglected my duties. Anyway, on top of all that, my duel with Miss Clorand required a lot of focus and energy. Learning how to turn defense into attack and seize the initiative when facing a combined assault from sword and musket. Even now, I'm still chewing through the details. But in the end, the exchange went well, and both parties learned a great deal. Never mind writing reports from 6 different perspectives. I feel like there's enough worth mentioning to write 24 of the things. Oh, I sure could. Anything that'll perk me up would be welcome. I'll leave the details to you.
One twinkling starlight for Captain Eula. Hope you like it.
Judging by your confident tone, I'm certain I will. Well then, I'll make sure to savor this thoroughly. Huh, not bad. Sweet and tingly, with a delightful airiness. The fizzy water really brings it to life. I suddenly feel full of vim and vigor. But just one glass doesn't quite scratch the itch. How about something with a bit more bite? Don't hold back. You don't need to worry about putting me on the floor with nothing but a couple of drinks. Works for me. The first company hasn't assigned me any paperwork for tonight, so I'm free to catch up and try your new creations at my leisure. That's right. The merchant I got it from called it Romaritime Flower Fruit Extract. It has a very unique smell. Here, have a bottle. Oh, it's a necessary courtesy. In that book Miss Magistus lent me, The Blade Dancer, 20 Years On, it says, after a duel, a Fontanian swordsman will politely invite their defeated opponents to a banquet. To properly play host to Miss Clorand, I searched for quite some time to locate a rare goods merchant in Dorman Port who sold this juice. I had my doubts at first, too. But Amber said something that makes a lot of sense. She said that even if this custom doesn't really exist, following it still shows I've made an effort to understand Fontaine's cultural heritage. Besides, who doesn't like trying new things, right? When I gave it to her at our post-training banquet, Miss Clorand really did enjoy this juice. Yes, I have. For a while, the situation there was difficult. A gang of outlaw engineers was messing about with some sort of mechanism control technology, attempting to manipulate ruin graders so they could rob merchant caravans. To make matters worse, several veteran knights who had been stationed at Dorman Port were transferred to my squad, and they weren't happy to be taking orders from that Lawrence girl. Leading them on this mission was quite eventful. It took 3 weeks of stealth operations in the snow, with no fires to keep us warm, before we finally located the enemy's stronghold. Those veteran knights faced the bitter cold and were almost taken down by the enemy's smuggled battle mechs. Fortunately, the battle went our way, and they had no choice but to acknowledge my abilities. Me? I'm completely fine. But thank you for your concern. It was mentally tiring for sure. But fortunately, the operation wore them down far more than it did me. They won't be questioning my authority again anytime soon. If any new recruits try to make my life difficult, I'll just have my veterans give them a few friendly pointers. I guess you could call them a permanent solution, huh? If you want to know what I've been eating recently, I'd better start by mentioning the logistics company's latest revolution. They launched a diet improvement initiative and started distributing a form of standardized canned food to knights operating in the wilderness. In the past, we only had dry rations. Every mealtime, we had to set up pots and campfires, roll dice to choose a cook, and take turns standing guard. In all honesty, it was a bit of a hassle. Now we just need to bring our standard field rations, comprising of 5 cans and 9 paper packages. We can heat the cans by the campfire, and then we're ready to eat. You did say, sounds like, right? Our canned food supplier has quite the stellar reputation, and their regular meals are indeed quite good. The problem is, in order to meet preservation standards, they have to make their military-grade meals way too salty. The vice captain of the 5th Company, who has a somewhat dry sense of humor, went so far as to say, "This food's bad enough to bring down the wrath of Li Yue's stove god." In any case, after eating it for a week, my taste buds have gone completely numb. You can hardly blame the logistics company. After all, it is hard to please everyone. Our feedback has already been submitted, and they should be working on fixing the issue. Of course, having fresh meals prepared in camp by a dedicated company chef is still the best option. Oh my. To be honest, before we crossed swords, I was feeling eager, but also a little nervous. Miss Cloran's combat style comes from the mysterious Marechaussee hunters. In the library, there are some old Fontanian newspapers from hundreds of years ago that give some idea of how formidable an organization it was. A more recent newspaper claimed that Miss Cloran was an orphan from an underwater kingdom, and that before battle she would perform rituals inviting spirits to possess her sword. Certainly, from my own experiences, Miss Cloran's abilities more than match those descriptions. Incorporating elements of swordsmanship into a drink? Huh. Certainly a creative idea, I'll give you that. A commemorative cocktail at a time like this sounds nice, but how do you plan to express something like swordsmanship with a drink? That definitely matches the description I read in that book. That's right. You really know your stuff. I doubt there's anyone else in all of Tevat who could come up with such a perfect metaphor. There's no need to make it sound so fancy. It's just an aristocratic variant of Favonius bladework, with a bit of personal flair. Firewater. In recent years, firewaters gained popularity the world over, following in the wake of prosperous Snezhnayan merchants. These days, almost every tavern has a signature drink that uses it as a base. You really are good. Why don't we try replacing the fruit wine with firewater? As for the alcohol content, that's not a problem. Plenty of the expedition team may have drunk themselves senseless with firewater. But me, I'm full of confidence. Brilliant! I'm looking forward to seeing how you do.
Here's your all-new Seafoam Sword Song, mixed to meet your personal preferences.
Oh my, what beautiful colors. And you even added my romaritime flower fruit extract. The aroma is perfect, and I can smell the alcohol, but it doesn't stifle the fruity fragrance. Let's see how it tastes. Give me a moment to come up with the right words. I need to think carefully. I know it's unbecoming of a lady, and a proper connoisseur would savor their drinks slowly. But I'm sorry, this is just too good to be true. Can you mix me another? Ah. Oh, no, what was I going to say? I've completely lost my train of thought. Whatever. I feel fantastic. This cocktail... Oh, it's the best I've ever had. I think I'm gonna head home and get some sleep. Don't worry about me. This is the happiest tipsy I've been in years. I'm still far from being drunk. By the time I've written up those reports for my exchange with Miss Clarend, I'll have been on duty for 3 months straight. Jean, the acting grandmaster. Isn't it about time she gave me some time off? I won't be forgetting this injustice in a hurry. You mark my words.
Suspicion confirmed. While patrolling the area, I was sure I'd sensed a familiar presence, so I came over to take a look. And sure enough, here you are. If Miss Charlotte were to see you like this, I'm guessing she'd take 100 pictures and write up a report. Sword-wielding traveler's secret side hustle. Exclusive cocktails from Tevat's Explorer Extraordinaire. You'd make the front pages of every major newspaper, and there'd be crowds of Fontanian tourists flocking to your drink stand, causing gridlock on the streets of Mondstadt. Luckily for you, I turned down Miss Charlotte's request to accompany me here, so you're unlikely to be seeing any scenes like that. Let's quietly celebrate this moment of peace. And on that note, I'd like a caramel glaze. That look on your face tells me you have a lot of questions you want to ask. Calm and effortless. I'm shocked to learn you're a real pro at this sort of thing.
Your caramel blaze is ready. Try not to drink it all in one go.
It sure lives up to its name. The color reminds me of a raging fire, while that aroma really hits you head on. It's quite strong. I'm all right. I just need a little time to get used to it. As I recall, the last time I drank alcohol was at a wine tasting event that Navia invited me to last year. I only had a small sip of Sassica wine, and it was nowhere near as strong as this concoction of yours. From a purely rational perspective, alcohol can cause dizziness and impair one's ability to work, so it's best avoided altogether. But when Miss Farina saw me off at the docks, she mentioned that Mondstadt is the land of wine and poetry. Since I'm here, I thought I should at least try the local specialties. In fact, Captain Eula, whom I sparred with earlier, has quite the refined taste for fine wine. She even gifted me a bottle of Romaritime flower fruit extract, which is no longer produced in Fontaine, and can now only be found overseas. Out of the utmost respect for her skills, I feel compelled to deepen my knowledge of Mondstadt's wines. I truly appreciate all the trouble you're going to. Huh? Does that mean she's already finished her commission? Well, she's certainly efficient. Once I return to Fontaine, perhaps I can let Sigewinne know that I'd be happy to purchase her latest perfume. I'm not sure I'd say that. On my way to Mondstadt, we happened to take the same boat. Naturally, we got to chatting. I've often heard Sigewinne praise her work. After conversing with her on the journey over, I must say, she is indeed a rare and refined individual. She's gentle and composed, yet keeps others at a distance. Perhaps it's due to her profession. I find this approach ideal. It allows one to maintain a lasting sense of inner peace. Oh, thank you, but there's really no need to set anything up. Our work rarely intersects, and our social circles hardly make for a Venn diagram, if you know what I mean. Best to just let things take their natural course. When I'm working, I often drink coffee. But with meals, I prefer a lighter tasting drink, like Buell fruit juice. Since I eat a lot of meat, the slight acidity of the juice helps balance out the greasiness. Over time, I've grown accustomed to the sour taste. After the swordsmanship exchange, the Knights of Favonius rather kindly treated me to some traditional Mondstadt cuisine. I had 8 different meat dishes, and all of them were excellent. The portions were huge, and only the highest quality cuts were used. Everything was cooked to absolute perfection. Of course, there was still room for improvement. When catering to tourists, the sticky honey roast and pile 'em up might benefit from a slightly lighter sauce. I've certainly tried all the red meat dishes. I think I've had enough calories to sustain 3 days of vigorous work, so I've had to decline all subsequent dining invitations. To be honest, I can still taste the grease. There must be a way to cleanse my palate. Indeed it is. The knights codenamed Hazelnut 3 and Hazelnut 5 gave me this crest. I must say, it's exquisite. They told me the design has only just been finalized. Apparently, it's only presented to important guests. They said they're making a badge for you, too, but it hasn't been finished yet. You're not wrong. I guess it's similar to how I can't remember the name of every clerk in the Palais Mermonia. But I'm certain you'll get to know them in time. They're clearly seasoned veterans. Even though they work desk jobs, they still turn up in full armor. After handling my affairs, they headed to the tavern for a gathering, saying they wanted to continue last night's duel and determine who had the highest alcohol tolerance. Drinking barrels of beer the night before, yet being able to work with clear minds the next day. Whew. So what you're saying is, while Mondstadters may seem carefree, they actually have an admirable ability to know their limits when it comes to drinking. I've seen a little. I took a stroll around the city the first day I got here. Navia's done some rather extensive research on this place. Many of the scenes and illustrations for the tabletop troupe were inspired by views of Mondstadt. However, the way she describes the atmosphere in her world building is quite different from the real Mondstadt. The deepest impression I've got since arriving here is one of swords and shields. Perhaps because I've mostly just visited the blacksmith and the training grounds. Recently, the newer weapons and armor produced in Mondstadt have been created using a completely different heat treatment process from those in Fontaine, with a higher carbon content in the surface layer. While this has slightly reduced their overall toughness, their impact resistance has greatly improved. These newer weapons give off a smell like overbrewed coffee. Perhaps it's because that scent gave me such a positive first impression. You see, Fontaine's signature metalwork is often coated with a protective agent that contains Marcotte. Over time, the faint fragrance becomes overly sweet. And for some reason, it makes my teeth feel funny. I don't imagine the scent of Mondstadt's swords and shields would cause the same level of irritation. Of course, there is a solution to this problem. The next time you find yourself in Fontaine, there's another protective agent I can recommend. One that's as neutral as water, without any excess fragrance. If you also dislike being bombarded with sweetness, this protective agent should suit you well. Are you already planning the details of our hypothetical get-together? Based on my previous experiences with alcohol, I guess my tolerance is similar to Emily's. Fruit liqueur is probably my limit. So when the time comes, I think you'd be best off mixing similar drinks for the both of us. All right, I'll make sure I'm mentally prepared. Even if it's still a bit strong, I'll do my best to finish it.
All right, this new creation is called Leisure Time Lightning, a cocktail made exclusively for champion duelists. Enjoy!
Have you added fruit wine? It tastes wonderful. This is ideal for me. There's a subtle saltiness that combines well with the tartness of the fruit and the sweetness of the caramel. Each sip balances delicately on the edge of perfection. The color of the wine also fits well with the name, and the lightning imagery contrasts with the fiery nature of the caramel glaze. But where does the leisure time part come in? I see. That certainly matches the impression this cocktail gives me. Its unique aroma and taste will hold a special place in my memories of Mondstadt. Do you think, if the chance were to present itself, you'd be interested in mixing drinks somewhere else? A cafe, for instance, or the Hotel de Boer? Mostly for Navia and Miss Farina's sake. Though obviously I'd be more than happy to try more of your masterpieces myself. I understand. I won't try to strong-arm you. In any case, I truly appreciate your hospitality. Thanks to you, whether I'm summarizing the key lessons from my exchange with Miss Eula, or discussing strategy with the Knights of Favonius, I'll be in my best condition.
Nightfall. Ways to the wicked! Be silent. Fear the dark.
Sacred name, Fortune Preserver.
Break forth!
Surge.
Observe.
Illuminate night for all.
To dust. Close your eyes. Resistance is futile. Save yourself. Close your eyes. Nightfall.
Rise.
Be silent.
Illuminate night for all.
Dawn, break forth! Be silent. Dawn, break forth!
Be silent. So close your eyes. I will return as an avalanche.
Orders given. Orders received. Go.
Dawn, break forth!
Observe, not be silent.
People ought not be so frightened of ghosts. They are merely talking shadows, chattering away endlessly about their past affairs.
Every course of action has its risks. Be careful. We should prepare while we can, then make a preemptive strike against the enemy.
While the Millilith stands guard, evil shall never prevail.
They say that the calmer things seem on the surface, the more likely that danger.
Press the advantage.
An assassin from our homeland, or a fool who trespasses upon the waters of Chainsa. Coveting the shapes of the living, pure water can take on many forms. In this way, shall water deliver your punishment.
Please, step back.
Born of ice, the power of water is its ability to take any shape.
Press the advantage. Behold the dark!
Observe. Close your eyes. Do you fear the dark? Observe.
Without solid ground, terrestrial creatures become simply helpless. The power of water is its ability to take any shape.
Close your eyes to dust. Observe. Do you fear the dark?
Press.
One who is ignorant of water's treasures fails also to comprehend its horrors.
Observe. Close your eyes.
Let's see what happens when you lose your foothold. The power of water is its ability to take any shape.
Fear the dark. Close your eyes. Do you fear the dark?
Master? We seek but a small haven of tranquil waters. Is that so much to ask for? As long as rain falls and rivers flow, water will exist forever.
Let us have a modicum of patience for the richness and complexity of humanity. The wanton cruelty of the few is not worth our ire. He who wishes to peer into the abyss needs simply to wander through Nodcry on a misty night. The march of the wild hunt will be sure to drag him into the darkness.
ashtray.
Thank you for
Add ashtray.
Dad found someone amazing to help out. Seeing you here, Miss Honorary Knight, Klee knows this must be the best drink stand in all of Teyvat. You mean this stand isn't already the best? Well, out of all the drink stands Klee's ever visited, Miss Honorary Knight's is easily the best. And no matter what drinks Miss Honorary Knight makes, Klee will definitely think they're yummy. You want me to be mean? But Klee could never be mean to you. Let me think. I know! I'll pretend to be Albedo! Whenever Albedo reviews Timaeus' work, his face goes super serious. And Klee can hear every word he says. Get ready for Klee's super amazing order! Me and Mom blasted so many fish today. Don't tell Master Jean, though. So, Klee wants to order a fair weather frolic. Anything like a bright sunny day will definitely put Klee in a super duper mood. I wonder what it'll taste like.
Your fair weather frolic is here. Go on, give it a try.
Wow! So, a fair weather frolic is this color? Purple sky. Is it supposed to be a bright, shiny night? Klee will take a sip first. Then you can think about it more carefully. Ah, finished. Yummy! Both sweet and sour. If Klee drank this while eating grilled fish, I could definitely gobble down 2, or 3, or 4, or even 5! But one drink isn't enough. Klee wants to try a drink that tastes like cake. Klee doesn't know what drink to choose. Why don't we decide together, Miss Honorary Knight? Three square meals? Klee often eats 5 meals a day, sometimes even 7. Adventuring takes a lot of energy, and if I eat too much at once, I can't run so well. So, it's better to eat lots of smaller meals. Albedo used to prepare all Klee's meals, and my lunchbox was always arranged so neatly, just like a pretty painting. When Albedo's busy at Dragonspine, Klee goes to eat with the other Knights of Favonius. Kaya's camp is usually the neatest, while Amber sometimes camps in the trees. It's so much fun. Oh, and Auntie Hertha makes the best food. When my mom comes back, there'll be even more yummy food to eat. There's this one dish where she takes loads of different fish and makes them into little pudding cubes. It's called Rainbow Fish Jelly. Her Chocogo Crunchy Slices are fantastic, too. It's her newest creation made with chocolate and cookies. They're a little bitter, but they're crunchy. They smell scrumptious, and they have a really sweet aftertaste. Whenever I eat them, I feel so full of energy. Next time, Klee will have to bring some for you to try. Yeah, when Klee gets back home, I'm gonna eat some salted nuts while reading my book. Klee used to eat cake after dinner, but Master Jean said it's too sugary, and it's not good to eat sugary things before bed. Apparently, it makes you chubby and gives you toothaches. So, Mom got some advice from Auntie Barbie, and now she gives me nuts instead. She says they help my brain remember things better. Nuts don't have much flavor. It's like chewing on grass, but they're okay if you add a little salt. This stuff? Mom taught me how to make it using the alchemy bench. A dash of sugar, then a lot more sugar, then some flowers from Mom's friend in Fontaine, star honey from Auntie Barbie, and finally, some magical jam from Auntie Tavia. Put everything together on the alchemy table, wish for the shape you want, then recite Mom's incantation, and poof! Todoko-shaped candy! Klee can give you some Dodoko candy too if you want. And if you really like them, I can even teach you my mom's incantation. That way, you can make your own candy whenever you want. If you get stuck, remember to come ask Klee. When it comes to magical candy, I'm an expert. Yeah, Mom gave me an amazing book recently. She said I have to read one chapter every night, learn something useful, and then go to bed early. That book taught Klee how to make something called propellant. Now Jumping Dumpty can go Fwah! And bounce even higher. It's not hard at all. In fact, it's a lot like making bombs. You just have to be careful when trimming it down. It's like sharpening a pencil that could suddenly go boom. Bedtime's an important part of Klee's schedule, too. Mom sits by my side and tells me all kinds of wonderful stories. She has a lamp made of gemstones, and when she turns it on, it goes kabling and lights up the ceiling. Yeah! When something happens in the story, the lights on the ceiling make pretty pictures. Sometimes Mom falls asleep before the story ends, so Klee has to tuck her in instead. As soon as Klee learns how to use the lamp, I can come tell you stories, Miss Honorary Knight. Klee has memorized so many wonderful stories, enough to make everyone happy every day. Oh yeah, Klee still wants to eat sweet things, like cake, for example. Maybe we could just go easy on the cream? Or add more fruit? Oh, right! That friend of Mom's who's always wearing glasses gave her a big bag of Fontanian Buell fruit. They're so round and rolly. Klee ate a whole bunch of those, and they were super sweet. But Master Jean said it was okay, because sweet fruit isn't the same as sweet sugar. So if Klee really has to eat nuts, maybe I can just soak them in some fruit juice first? Yeah, that was quick. Klee's looking forward to finding out how tasty your next concoction is.
It's done. I just know you're gonna love this new creation.
Wow! There's Dodoko candy on top! There's so much orange in this cup, and Dodoko looks like he's lying on top of white fluffy clouds. And the weather inside looks much better, too. Yummy! It's so delicious! Klee has to drink slowly. I can't just gulp it down, or I'll miss all the yummy flavor. Miss Honorary Knight, this is amazing! It's like you mixed sunshine with juice. Klee was so tired from playing, but now I feel refreshed. And warm. And peaceful. Ooh. You're the best, Miss Honorary Knight. Really? Let me think. When the weather's nice and Dodoko's happy, Dodoko will want to sing, right? And when Dodoko sings, Klee wants to sing too. So, let's call it Dodoko's Duet. Thank you! And thanks for making such a yummy drink for Klee. Klee's gonna go tell Mom that the best drink in Mondstadt right now is Dodoko's Duet. Klee's gonna write down Mom's incantation and give you a copy, Miss Honorary Knight. Then you should learn magic too, so you can make all the candies you want. See you next time!